今天我要带大家见一位在我生命里重要时刻出现的朋友。我和他有着30年的缘分，却从没见过一面，终于能带大家和他一起聊聊。
Hello, Jo.
Hello, Teresa. How are you? Whereabouts are you?
I am in Shanghai, and it's
Oh.
Monday night in Shanghai. Where are you? What time is it?
It's about 11 o'clock in the morning here, but I just jumped off a plane from Dubai, so I came home here so that we could do this amazing conversation here in the studio in London in Elizabeth Street that Jo loves. So just here is kind of where I work, and we do all kinds of creativity and things that have never been done before in fragrance. So I thought it would be fun to do it from the studio.
I love your studio. It's very bookish, so it actually brings back a lot of memories for you.
It's full of memories. I feel very at home sitting here and just creating fragrance and storytelling because I literally read everything about you.
Oh.
And as I was reading your incredible story, which I think we have so many parallels, don't we? We're obviously two mavericks.
Yes, we do.
I'm so looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have together.
Well, you know how I come across this idea was that this is almost like a date in the making for the last 30 years, don't you think? I mean, it's almost like a full circle to me because when I used to go to London a lot, and that was for the fashion buy for my boutique. It was back in 1999. I would be passing by your shop. It was so different from the time.
Oh.
And that's when I first met lime basil and mandarin, which was one of my favorites, as well as the red roses, which became a huge sensation in China.
It's so funny, Teresa. I didn't realize, I suppose, at the time when I first started, what an influence I would have over in the fragrance industry. But I had no training or anything, and I just had this big dream. I believe that dreams are so important in life. Can I ask you, why do you love roses?
When I wrote to you, I then realized when I came across red roses, it was a time of challenges for me because I went through a very public divorce back in 1997. And so I had to start everything from scratch. The writing, the shop. Red roses was a symbol of my coming of age in how I regained my dignity, my independence, my womanhood. You know, I was a very young bride and I became a woman after the marriage. But then, you know how after a decade-long marriage, how you feel like yourself being an old sofa at home? You know, it's almost like you lost a sense of womanhood. When I sprayed red roses on, people would just come to me, and that gave me so much confidence. And that was the first time I ever noticed that perfume, it boosts your energy.
Wow, what a story.
And you're in London while I'm in Shanghai, and we're talking about perfume. I mean, how great is it? Isn't this like a full circle?
God, what a wonderful way. I've never thought of it like that. What a wonderful way to look at it.
The power of rose is so amazing.
You need the softness, the romance, the power of something.
A rose will give you everything she has. It reminds me of our characters in a way.
Because we're bunnies. We're 1963. I totally get our energy. And the fact that we're still alive and kicking is a surprise to many people. And I think your story and mine will be quite worthwhile to tell and to be shared amongst a lot of people, especially women our age, and for younger generations to aspire to. So you have to let me know what makes you you. In Asia, people see the importance of our birth families being the starting point for us. What role did your parents play in your life?
I think wherever we come from, nothing is ever wasted. I grew up in a family that didn't have a lot of money. My father was a brilliant artist and architect. He was a magician, and he was also a huge gambler. And my mum worked for the beauty industry. So I had these two unbelievably creative parents. So there was this love and this appreciation of artistry, creativity. But from the age of 11, I was the kind of the sole breadwinner in our family. I used to go to the markets with my dad and sell the paintings. And I would help my mum make face creams and all kind of different things. I wasn't handed a huge amount of money. I didn't go to university. I left school at 15. But I had this kind of entrepreneurial, and in that beginning, I mean, I don't know whether you would agree with this with your own life, but in the beginning, that entrepreneurial spirit often comes through hardship and hard work and having to kind of really pull things together. I don't know, what was your upbringing like? Were your parents sort of a huge part of your upbringing?
Yes, I think. My father had made a huge impact on me. Like your father, my father was an artist. He was an illustrator.
Oh, wow.
He actually made a name for himself since he was 15 years old. When the whole family relocated to Hong Kong, my grandfather passed away all of a sudden. Oh. And so my father had to put food on the table when he was 15. I remember he told me that he was so proud of himself when he put the first check on the table for his mother to buy food. And luckily, he became an emerging artist. The first big gig that he landed was a newspaper called Sing Tao newspaper. It's one of the largest newspaper in Hong Kong. And it happened to be one of my 2 very meaningful columns where I had my column.
Wow, good for you, how amazing.
Yes. From an illustrator, he started to build the first TV commercial company in Hong Kong back in the 60s. So I think I learned the fact that we had to persevere. Nothing is given. We have to earn it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've lived a parallel. And when I look at my life and I look back, someone often says to me, in questions, would you change anything about your life? And the answer, good and bad, is no, I wouldn't, because I am the person I am today. I don't know about you.
Yes, it's a spirit.
But I feel whatever situation I'm in, I'm always trying to find the different way or the entrepreneurial way. There's always a solution to everything. And that is definitely my childhood and the entrepreneur that is in me today.
Because the entrepreneurship really runs in the family. My son, who had just started his first anime cafe, they were authorized by League of Legends.
Oh, wow.
One night he came back 4 a.m. and he was like, oh God, I had a shitty day. I scrubbed the toilet. And I said to him, well, you're the CEO of the company, right? You scrub toilets, you had to do everything.
Yeah.
We had to make things for ourselves.
And they say the apple never falls far from the tree, don't they? And I look at my son now, who's 21. He is so entrepreneurial. I'm so proud, and I'd love to think that our parents look at us and think, look what they did.
I heard that you formulate ingredients in your kitchen in London back in the 80s. How and when did you realize that perfume was your passion?
Being here, my first boss was one of the best delicatessens in London at that time. It is part of my story and my learning process. Where we're sitting now is 42 Elizabeth Street in London.
It's such a nice place.
This was given to me on my birthday by Gary. He gave me a set of keys and he said, for goodness sake, go and be a shopkeeper again because you're an absolute nightmare being at home. And as I walked in the door here, I thought, I worked in this shop when I was 16 and this is the place I had my job first, and I came and I worked here, and so life often will bring you full circle. And where I'm sitting right now was the kitchens where they created food, and this place was where I learned as a child to appreciate that kind of amazing sense of smell. And when I see colour, like if I see the colour red, I can smell like a chili and a red currant skin. So colour affects me in different ways, and so being able to take those ingredients and blend them and mix them very differently.
So you're actually using paint and colours to inspire your formulating the scent?
My doctor came up to me one day and he said, do you know that your hippocampus is very large?
Oh.
And I said, I had no idea what that meant. And he said, do you have an incredible sense of smell? And I said, yes, I do. How do you know that? And he said, because that primeval part of your brain is very active. It was a kind of an explanation why I'm able to smell in the way I am. And it's caused me to look at our industry with such creative, artistic, different minds. So it's a real gift.
What a story. I started writing in the 80s. It came natural to me using words to describe the images in my head. My team always describes me having a super talent for product selections, which I think it's just a very glossy professional word for shopping. Joking aside, I can actually pretty much tell a great deal about a product from the first touch of the texture.
Oh, yeah.
You're known as a scent maverick, and why they call you that?
It is a nice title, isn't it?
Yes.
I didn't train to be, I didn't go through years of study to be a perfumer, but I just had this ability to think differently about fragrance. And I had this big dream, just that I could change the world with fragrances. And so wherever I go, someone will find me and tell me a story in their life of where my fragrances that I've created was at a turn point, and it's a huge privilege to be the gatekeeper of scent memories.
Well, that's wonderful. I advanced a year's writing salary, and with that, I opened a boutique in Centro in 1999. I removed an antique chandelier from home. That was all I had. I actually made my investment back within 5 days after opening the shop.
5 days?
5 days, yes. We sold everything. I had to rush to London. I had to rush to Milan, Paris, and to buy and constantly buy and buy and buy. I couldn't even ship everything by boat. I had to ship everything back DHL. So it became a very great business for me, and running a boutique full-time while writing 2 columns was crazy. It was hectic, and I was sleeping 4 hours a night.
Oh.
But that was the way to go. I had to attend a charity ball one night, and of course it coincided with my writing deadline. I went straight from the dinner gala in full ball gown, I think it was a John Galliano or a Dior gown, straight to the printing facility of the newspaper. And the editor made sure that I sat there and finished writing my column so that they could print at 4 a.m.
God, what an incredible woman. And